Members of the committee, if you could go ahead and count yourself in on the electronic board at your microphone. If you go ahead and announce yourself in the room. Ladies and gentlemen, I will call to order our House Transportation Subcommittee. It is Tuesday, February 10th, the year 2026. Mr. Clerk, if you could please open the board and we will start taking the roll. All right, Mr. Clerk, if you could please take the roll.
Mr. Chairman, you have 6 members present. You have a quorum.
Thank you. The clerk and the chair declares a quorum. We will begin our business. We do have a rather full calendar today. Any personal orders to come before the committee? I do have a personal order. We kind of missed out on you earlier in full Transportation Committee, but Mr. Bick Boyd, thank you very much for being here. Mr. Boyd is the current chairman of the Tennessee Automotive Association that represents Tennessee's car and truck dealers. He is a third-generation car dealer, and his family runs Mid-Tennessee Ford truck sales here in Nashville. So thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. I must say, I won't say, but I've driven one of your products for about 30 years. So I'm appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. We do have a calendar before us. We're going to go in order. Item number 1 is House Bill 1457 by Representative Bolso. I do not see him in the room just yet. We will roll Representative Bolso until we see him come in the room. Without objection. We are now on item number 2 on your calendars. Item number 2 is House Bill 1555 by Chairman Slater. You have a motion. You have a second. Chairman Slater, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In committee, I think this is my first time in transportation. Can't remember for sure. First time caller, but a long time listener. So there you go. Very interested in transportation. So anyway, this morning on the way to Cordell Hall, I was on Vietnam veterans coming out of Hendersonville, which is my typical route. And I was stuck in traffic, which is also typical. And I glanced over and there's a young man beside me driving, looked to be about high school age, but it quite honestly could be a 64-year-old. And he was texting. We were stopped. But as you know, when you're texting on your phone, even when you're stopped, that's the way a lot of fender benders are caused. And in fact, folks driving, whether it's anyone in this room or anyone that we may see, driving and not being hands-free is very dangerous, and it's becoming more and more dangerous. And that's what this bill is before you. I came from a constituent of mine, a municipal court judge, in fact, in Hendersonville. He brought this to my attention back in this past summer, and I've been working on it and worked with the Tennessee Municipal Judges Conference as well. So current law caps court costs for this offense, for the offense of not driving hands-free, at $10, and that is statutory. And then and that's without any state and local litigation taxes. HB 1555 removes the $10 cap and subjects defendants to state and local litigation taxes. By the way, it is a Class C misdemeanor to drive while you have a device in your hand. Judges often dismiss citations on court costs only with a firm admonition to the defendant if they have no prior driving record. When this happens, a $10 penalty serves little deterrence, even with the judge giving the defendant a strong admonition not to repeat their conduct in open court. If regular court costs are allowed for hands-free tickets, along with state and local litigation taxes, then greater deterrence will be fostered. The allowance of regular court costs will help incentivize officers and courts to proactively educate the public that there is a higher potential penalty for hands-free tickets in the event a motorist is charged with that offense. With a maximum penalty of $60, and that's the fine, which is capped at $50, and then the court cost at $10. With a maximum fine of $60, the public may equate these tickets to being less expensive and less important than a seatbelt or even a parking violation. Raising the financial stakes on hands-free tickets will allow law enforcement partners and the court to be more aggressive on promoting awareness for hands-free citations as a public safety concern. This would be similar to the law enforcement campaigns against impaired driving, where all the costs of getting a DUI are set out for public awareness. This raised awareness could also empower law enforcement partners to be more proactive in pursuing these citations. With over 12,000 hands-free citations issued on average over the last 5 years, this legislation could really empower enforcement of the hands-free law, which would likely help Tennessee with federal highway and safety funding based on traffic enforcement. And with that explanation, Mr. Chairman, I stand ready for questions.
Thank you for that explanation, Chairman Slater. Questions or comments on the legislation? Chairman Howell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the bill. I remember when the hands-free bill was passed. I happened to be on that committee, and I think the $10 was cap was placed on it because at the time, and I think it continues, the court costs have just kind of gone out of sight. And I agree with you that something needs to be done as a deterrent because the latest information I had, hands-free driving citations are now averaging well over 12,000 a year in Tennessee, which is equal to or exceeding DUI citations. Do you know what the average DUI citation how would that equate to this $10 cap? Do you have that information? I
Chairman
don't know.
Slater, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I don't have I think you're referring to the court costs when it
Yes.
comes to a DUI.
Yes, right.
And I don't have that information for DUI. I do have, however, from the Tennessee Municipal Judges Conference, an estimate of what the court costs are for hands-free violations, or what they would be for this type of an infraction. And those would run from $75 to $140, depending on the jurisdiction. So that would, depending on where you are, it would depend on what those court costs were.
Chairman Howell.
Thank you, Chairman. I intend to vote for the bill. I would encourage you to take a look at maybe an amendment that would raise the cap to be equal to or no more than the actual fine itself in order to prevent the court costs from getting way out of hand. But that's up to the sponsor. But I do intend to vote for the bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman McCalman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And to Chairman Howell's point, you mentioned 12,000 hands-free. I do actually have, for last year's DUIs issued by the THP, and it was actually less than 6,000. So you could say 12,000 is more than double. 5,842 DUIs were issued last year by THP in the state of Tennessee.
Thank you for that information. Chairman Russell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious, does the municipal courts report the dispositions to the state of Tennessee for these points to go on driving records?
Chairman Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And that's a great question, and a question that I asked my municipal court judge. And what he explained to me was that those points do if the fine is not paid, or if there's a class that is required. If that's not done, then the points do follow the individual.
Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? I will, and Chairman Slater, I mentioned this on the floor last night as well as a few moments ago. I'm going to give anecdotal information. A constituent ran a stop sign. Collegiate student ran a stop sign on campus, and the fine itself was was a $50 fine. But in this particular instance, there were court costs that were 5 times greater than what that fine was. I'm not sure, I don't have that data in front of me now, but I look at the fiscal note associated with that, and there are certain different funds that are tied to litigation taxes and things of that nature, court costs that are tied to that. And I do have some concerns that we are broadly funding a lot of other things through this particular piece of legislation. So as some other members have expressed to you, it does give us pause that although distracted driving is incredibly dangerous and probably the cause of the majority of accidents we see out there, we still want to ensure that we're in line with other activities that are going on as well. Yes, sir, you're recognized, Chairman Slater.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the input. If this committee allows this to move on to full committee, I will take time to work on that and make sure that we're not allowing these costs to go higher. The court costs are broken down into a couple points, and you alluded to some of that. Of course, the fine is capped at $50. Then you have litigation taxes and court costs. And so there's no way for me at this juncture to say, okay, what that might look like, because I don't want an unintended consequence and even try to cap those costs and without good language. And so if this committee will pass this on, then I'll work on that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think the mood of the committee certainly feels to move the bill forward with the idea that as we're removing one cap, we may need to put another cap in and just find out exactly what our municipal courts may suggest in that realm would be helpful as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. Seeing no further questions, are you ready to vote? All right, Mr. Clerk, if you could, we will open the voting. All in favor, please vote yes. Any opposed, please vote no. All right, everyone has voted. Mr. Clerk, if you could please take the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes, 1 no.
8 ayes and 1 no. The vote is in the affirmative. The bill moves forward to full Transportation Committee with the understanding we look forward to working with you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Well, without objection. We had rolled Representative Bolso until I saw him come in the room. So that was a special motion on your behalf, Representative Bolso. You have a motion, you have a second. You're recognized. Item 1 back on our calendars, item number 1, House Bill 1457. You are recognized for description, and I think you do have some amendatory language, sir.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, drafting code 012761.
Okay. And that is corroborated by the chair, drafting code 012761. I think that's going to help rewrite the bill. I'll entertain a motion for that. You have a motion, you have a second. All those in favor of placing House Amendment number 1, drafting code 012761 on the bill, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. Your bill is amended for description. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, members. Members, this bill does one thing. It seeks to amend the Disabled Drivers Act of 1975 to allow expectant mothers in Tennessee who are in their second or third trimesters or who have a high-risk pregnancy to have a temporary placard for the 6-month period of their pregnancy in order to have access to the disabled or handicapped parking spaces at retail establishments and other businesses across Tennessee. It's a way of welcoming new life in Tennessee and recognizing that our expectant mothers are important enough to us that we want them to be able to park near the entrance of these establishments.
Thank you very much for that description. Committee members have any questions? Representative Bain, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Rep. Bolso, I have received numerous emails from families with kids with complex disabilities that are against this bill, citing that they feel that there's a dearth of parking spots in the state as it relates to disability, and that pregnant mothers can already, I guess, receive these parking disability placards already. And so I guess what is the issue that you're trying to resolve? Because it doesn't seem like this is an ongoing issue in the state.
Representative Bolso, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman Hawk. Well, the factual predicate for the question is not accurate, Representative Bain. There is no eligibility under the current language for an expectant mother who is in her second or third trimester who does not have other types of disabilities that would qualify her under one or more of the other criteria that exist in the statute. So we are extending by this bill the ability for expectant mothers to have access to these parking spaces. And I certainly have heard some of the same concerns that you have. Interestingly, when we look at the fiscal note that is attached to the bill, I noticed that the estimate is that only 5% of expectant mothers with high-risk pregnancies will actually use these temporary placards that this bill makes available if it were to pass. And so my response would be that I want to continue the dialogue with the disability community. And if there's other revisions we can make to this that would bring them along so that they can also support having expectant mothers, I certainly would be open to that. But I think as written, this is something that is very good for Tennessee, and it's very good for welcoming new life and expectant mothers.
Representative Bain, you're recognized.
Yeah, just to follow up, I know this is the Transportation Subcommittee, but Tennessee does have the highest maternal mortality rate in the country, and I would love to see you bring the same level of doggedness to ameliorate the maternal mortality rate in the state. So thank you.
Representative Renaud, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a pregnant mom times 4 over, I can understand wanting to extend this graciousness to pregnant moms. I also echo some of the concerns that disability community has expressed about this, and particularly in places where parking lots are smaller, where they may only be one handicap parking space. I remember my second trimester, that was actually the absolute best part of pregnancy. I had the most energy. I don't necessarily, as much as I would be glad to give, anybody who felt like they needed one, a parking space or handicap parking option. Would you be open to restricting this to the third pregnancy and high risk mothers, and then potentially also doing this for a pilot program so that we could see if it was going to be a problem for the disabled community that they didn't find parking spaces because potentially too many pregnant high-risk mothers were taking advantage of the sticker?
Thank you. Representative Bolso, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, the short answer is yes. As these bills move from committee to committee, from chamber to chamber, I think it's important always to continue to listen to concerns and to make modifications as new information and new constituencies make information available. So the short answer is yes, I'm happy to continue the dialogue to make this something that everybody can support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Representative McCalman, Chairman McCalman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman Bolso, thank you for bringing the bill. I certainly understand the intent. You and I have talked, and just from a philosophical standpoint, I think I would prefer not to pass a law for this, but to urge parking lot owners to have like expectant mother parking. That I think that the Best Buy in Brentwood has that. So I understand the heart behind what you're trying to do. I applaud it. I think that is just, it's admirable, but for philosophical reasons, I have to be against the bill. So thank you.
Thank you. I will state, I think I read and heard in your testimony, Representative Bolso, both the permissive nature as well as the temporary nature. And I've heard some of those concerns from our, the disability, different coalitions and communities across the state of Tennessee. And you did mention in your comments 5%, roughly 5% would potentially take these from a doctor or accept these from a doctor and see value to that. So I see the permissive nature as well as the temporary nature of what you're doing. Any further closing comments or Representative Balso?
Just one, I mean, just to echo something that Representative Renaud said, we do have expectant mothers in Tennessee who are courteous and who understand that these disabled parking spaces are something of a limited commodity, which I think in part is why the fiscal note actually indicates that 5% of high-risk pregnancy mothers would use these spots. So I think we're all going to be considerate of each other, and this is something that just extends in Tennessee the concept of being open and welcoming to new life.
Thank you. You ready to vote? We'll open up the voting. All members in favor of the legislation, please press yes. All members opposed, please press no. Has every member voted? Mr. Clerk, if you could please announce the vote.
Mr. Chairman, you have 7 ayes and 2 noes.
Thank you. House Bill 1457 as amended will move forward to full Transportation Committee and look forward to working with you, Chairman Balso. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Committee.
All right, we are now on to item number 3 on our calendars. Item number 3 is House Bill 1691 by Representative Sherrill. You have a motion, you have a second. Representative Sherrill, you are recognized for explanation, sir.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. Hopefully just a simple bill here, House Bill 1691. The Upper Cumberland Airport, which is up in White County, and Putnam County, which is a joined together airport, would like to ask to reduce the airport authority term from 5 years to 4 years. And it would bring the election of the regional airport authority members in the cycle with your mayors, which will be every 4 years. And just pretty much that's what they'd like to ask to do.
All right, just making sure we did get a motion in a second, but I'll hear one again. There's your motion. There's your second. Just for clarity right there, belt and suspenders. Understand what you're working to do for your community, Representative Sherrill. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on the legislation? Seeing none, you ready to vote? All right, we'll open the voting. All those in favor of sending House Bill 1691 to full Transportation Committee, please vote yes. Any opposed, please vote no. Mr. Clerk, take the vote. Please announce.
Mr. Chairman, you have 9 ayes and 0 noes.
Thank you. In an affirmative vote, House Bill 1691 will move forward to full Transportation Committee.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. We are now on to item number 4 on our calendars, House Bill 1874 by newly appointed Chairman Martin. You have your motion, and I did hear a second that time, so we are good to go. You're recognized on your bill, sir.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee. House Bill 1874 clarifies the hybrid electric vehicle definition referenced in the Transportation Modernization Act. The Hamilton County Clerk's Office informed me that they receive questions daily regarding which vehicles need to pay the additional hybrid fee. The current hybrid fee definition references vehicles which are, quote, primarily powered by an electric motor. This bill changes the language to a more literal definition of being propelled by a combination of an electric motor and another power source like a combustion engine. I want to thank the Department of Revenue for working with me on this and providing the language which aligns with our definitions, which is one used by the federal government. They've also confirmed with me that this language will not increase or decrease future fee revenues. And with that, Mr. Chairman, thank you and stand ready for questions.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Representative Bain, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So what vehicles would be eliminated by the new definition? Can you name some types of vehicles?
Chairman Martin, you're recognized.
No, ma'am, I can't. What
Okay.
this is doing is it's clarifying what is a hybrid vehicle for our clerks.
Okay.
What it's going to do, it's not going to add $1 or take $1 away from the revenues, but what it's going to do is going to eliminate a lot of conversations where people come in and argue and say, well, my car's not really a hybrid vehicle. Well, it is a hybrid vehicle according to the federal standards. So this is making it clearer, and it's helping our clerks all across the state of Tennessee. and it's helping bring a clarity to the definition of what a hybrid vehicle is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And I'll put my finance committee hat on. If there's not a fiscal note, then I don't think it changes any of those numbers in terms of cars that would or would not. It just brings more clarity to our clerks and gives them an answer or a definition to give to constituents as they come in, I do believe. Okay. Are you ready to vote? All right. We'll open up the board. All members in favor of House Bill 1874 going to full transportation, please vote yes. Any opposed, please vote no. Mr. Clerk, could you please announce the vote?
Mr. Chairman, you have 9 ayes and 0 noes.
With an affirmative vote, House Bill 1874 goes forward to full transportation committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are now on to item number 5 on our calendars, House Bill 1782. By Representative Fritz, you have your motion, you have your second. You are recognized, sir.
Chairman and committee, thank you so much. I bring before you House Bill 1782, which makes a couple changes to the topic we just discussed. In 2023, our General Assembly passed Transportation Modernization Act. I voted for that. As a part of this act, registration fees for electric vehicles, plug-in hybrids, and non-plug-in hybrids were increased. The owners of these vehicles then pay higher registration fees in lieu of the state gasoline tax or in addition to the state gasoline tax, which used to fund new highway infrastructure and maintenance and repair of existing. Shortly after we passed that, I started to get calls from folks who are driving I'm sure you all did too, the non-plug-in hybrids. And with the non-plug-in hybrid, most of y'all understand this completely, but just for the record, the non-plug-in hybrid vehicles generate electricity either by regenerative braking or by the internal combustion power plant that the vehicle is equipped with. Increases the gas mileage of those vehicles. And if you happen to be someone like me who likes to own many vehicles, my dear wife might tell you too many. Some of those vehicles with internal combustion power plants, like our Super Duties, are quite thirsty, and we pay lots in our tax and putting fuel, either gasoline or diesel, in those trucks. But these non-plug-in hybrids don't have the opportunity to be pulled in a garage or a parking place and charged and then operate in lieu of petroleum products. They have to have gasoline to be able to motivate. So that's what I'm really touching on. The bill's pretty simple. It just replaces the language to include those hybrid vehicles and plug-in hybrid vehicles and substitutes the language of plug-in hybrid vehicles. Certainly, we would all agree that those who drive the all-electric cars should contribute to the infrastructure. As you see from the fiscal note, there's some large numbers on the fiscal note. And what we're doing, when you read those numbers, actually, you see that we're double taxing, in many cases, Tennessee citizens because they've chosen something that's more efficient. So those numbers, while are not only from a budgetary prospect concerning for us, those numbers should also concern us, as those are Tennessee citizens that are paying twice to be able to operate that vehicle on the road. So with that, I'll stop. Thank you for your time and ask for a favorable motion on this.
Thank you very much for that. Any questions or comments from committee members? Chairman, Representative Fritz, thank you very much. I've heard similar concerns, and it has been difficult, and TDOT has got some data where they can justify this, and you've seen the data as well. We're at an interesting precipice where we are having broad conversations in this committee and other committees, Finance Committee as well, about funding our roads and bridges, and it's a difficult time. In addition, we have a TASER study that we're looking for a report very soon to get an idea of how we're doing and what we need to do to further address our transportation needs across the state of Tennessee. So certainly understand where you're coming from.
Yes, sir.
There's a huge but in there as well, but as we're looking to send greater funding to our transportation needs, there are some concerns. So.
Yes, sir. I understand. If I could just offer one other huge but in
Certainly
that as well. And I would agree that certainly those numbers are alarming, but we are really disincentivizing in some cases the ownership of those vehicles. Because if you look through in some of the gas mileage numbers, certainly if you look at my fellow representative from Roane County, he and I both happen to have super duties. We pay on average at a 15, 16 mile per gallon rate. When you look at a Honda Civic gasoline, no hybrid, car and driver suggests that they're going to get 36 miles per gallon. And so we don't penalize a Honda Civic by charging them twice because they use less fuel. But if you go down to a Ford Maverick, which has adopted the hybrid system that Toyota uses, not only are you not operating an internal combustion engine, which does have some impact on the environment, but you're disincentivizing perhaps that small truck. I think they named it wrong. It should have been a Ranchero for those old people. But Jake agrees. 37 miles per gallon. And so in doing this, again, it was a good thing to do. I just thought that this was something we overlooked. I think there's an opportunity to correct it. Is there a little pain with that? I'm sure there is. But I'm sure that all those Tennesseans that want to live free and make their own decisions will appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. You ready to vote? All those in favor, please vote yes. Any opposed, please vote no on the legislation. All right, Mr. Clerk, could you please announce the vote?
Mr. Chairman, you have 3 ayes and 6 noes.
Thank you. The vote is in the negative. The bill fails.
Thank you, Chairman Committee.
Thank you very much, Representative Fritz. We are now ready for item number 6 on our calendars, House Bill 1522. Representative Stevens, you have a motion, you have a second, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill exempts an active U.S. military service member who's stationed on out-of-state military orders from paying the new state registration fee on electric vehicles.
Thank you, and thank you for the conversations we've been having over the last week on this piece of legislation. Certainly understand. Questions or comments from members? Chairman Butler, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a veteran, I appreciate your intent with this bill and appreciate you potentially providing a small contribution to this military family. I do have one question, though. It specifically says they have to present orders so they can confirm that they are serving out of the state of Tennessee. What if the spouse is not living outside the state of Tennessee, but yet is driving one of these vehicles? So the service member is in wherever, and his spouse and or children still live in the state of Tennessee. Would that vehicle qualify?
You recognize Representative
Thank you,
Stevens.
Mr. Chairman. Yes, under this it would, because it says the vehicle can be registered in the service member's name, or I believe in the spouse or the children. I'm not sure how we would police that with other people, but the service member won't be driving on the roads. And so the $274 that he or she would have to pay wouldn't affect that one person, but the other ones could still, use the benefit. And I'm just not sure how you would police it.
Chairman Butler.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious on that. I'm going to support the bill, and I appreciate the intent by the bill and the position you're taking to support our veterans and our active duty military. Thank you.
Chairman Howell, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There was some discussion about trying to balance this or equate this with what's done with service members who drive a combustion or gasoline engine. Did you find any information on that issue?
Representative Stevens, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there excuse me, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
is there a
Chairman Howell.
disparity there? That's what I'm asking.
Representative Stevens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Hayes and I talked about this earlier. So right now, these people don't have to pay the county portion of that because the counties and cities can't charge them a tax if they're stationed outside of Tennessee. This would be basically the same thing because even though they are out of state, they're not driving on the road, so they shouldn't have to pay this, just like they wouldn't have to pay the county portion of the wheel tax when they're living here.
Chairman Howell.
So in your bill, would the counties and cities be held harmless as well?
Representative Stevens.
On the fiscal note, it does have a decrease in local revenue of $12,800 in the 26-27 fiscal year. So there is a loss, but it's not very significant.
Chairman Howell.
So it would seem to me that if we're doing something like that with those who drive a gasoline engine, we should also hold them harmless, the counties harmless, when they drive an EV. It doesn't sound like that's what's happening with your bill, is my question.
Representative Stevens.
I'm not sure how this $274 fee gets divided up among the cities and counties, but they would have a slight loss. I don't disagree with your premise, but the Tennessee County Association, they have agreed to support this bill and believe it's a good piece of legislation.
Coming from county, excuse me, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Howell.
Coming from county government, I understand how tight their budgets are. I'm going to support the bill to get it out of sub, but I would encourage you to make sure that we are talking apples for apples. And if you feel so inclined to bring an amendment to full, we'd certainly entertain that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Chairman Wright, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a recovering first lieutenant or a recovering county commissioner, I sometimes look at things as a math problem. And as in this bill or the previous bill, the math problem to me is a little bit outweighed by the fact that we're waiting on a study to determine the outcome of where we should be on improving or increasing what we're spending in transportation funds. I kind of dislike muddying the water right now in front of a study that's supposed to be released maybe this week. So I believe I've earned the right to say, let me wait and see what the Tasser study might say, and then bills about electric vehicles be reintroduced after we get some major legislation out of the way on how we're funding roads. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Any closing comments, Representative Stevens?
No, sir. I just would ask for a favorable vote.
Okay. I'm going to open the voting. All those in favor of sending the bill to full transportation committee, please vote yes. Any opposed, please vote no. All right, Mr. Clerk, could you please announce the vote?
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes and 1 no.
Receiving an affirmative vote, House Bill 1522 moves forward to full transportation committee.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're now on item number 7 on our calendars. Item number 7, Representative Reeves, is House Bill 1712. You have a motion, you have a second. You're recognized, sir.
Well, thank you very much. I got a little ahead of myself on this one. We're still working on language. And so I would ask that we roll it a week, if that's okay.
Okay. Seeing no objection, without objection, House Bill 1712 is rolled 1 week. And thank you very much for taking your time to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're now on to item number 8 on our calendar, House Bill 1546. Again, House by Representative Chairman McCalman.
Motion.
You have your motion, you have your second. Chairman McCalman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I do have an amendment.
The chair detects drafting code 012832 as the amendment, looks to rewrite the bill. I will entertain a motion and a second.
Motion.
We have a motion, you have a second. Let's go ahead and put that on the bill. All those in favor of attaching amendment drafting code 012832, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. The ayes have it. Your bill is amended and you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, House Bill 1546 is a simple cleanup bill to bring Tennessee law into compliance with federal law that allows diabetics on insulin who can control the condition to the extent that they are able to obtain a commercial driver's license and drive in interstate commerce. Existing Tennessee law restricts diabetic school bus drivers who require insulin to intrastate travel. Even when their condition is well controlled and they can safely operate a vehicle, these drivers are medically qualified under federal law for interstate travel. This intrastate only restriction is inconsistent with federal law and creates challenges for many school districts whose bus routes often require drivers to cross state lines, such as Far East Tennessee, down near Chattanooga, where they have to go into other states. By deleting that subsection, these diabetic drivers are no longer in the restricted category. Additionally, because of the introductory language in subsection 411A, the medical qualification would default to federal law, which permits interstate travel. Words are hard today, Mr. Chairman. The amendment, we worked with the Department of Safety on some of their concerns, and they are all good to go with it. And with that, I stand ready for questions.
Thank you for the explanation. Chairman Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So let me ask this question of the sponsor. This is making state law look like federal law.
Chairman McCallum.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, Chairman Wright, this is just bringing us into, it's a cleanup bill, making us line up with federal law. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Wright. I will state my volleyball player daughter, my 14-year-old, her freshman volleyball team, when we travel to Tennessee High, which is in Bristol, Tennessee, we actually have to travel into Virginia to come back into Tennessee. So there are more cases of this than people would realize. And it was mentioned before in Southeast Tennessee. I'm sure that situation is there as well as other parts of the state as we join 8 other states around us. So Chairman McCallum.
Thank you, Chairman. And I would relate to your situation when Page High went down to Chattanooga to win the state championship this year. We too had to cross state lines into Georgia.
Thank you. You could have gone all day without stating Page High, who beat us in soccer for like 4 years in a row. So I appreciate that. That's just.
I hope that doesn't get me a no vote, sir.
What's the old saying? It ain't bragging if you can back it up. So I appreciate where you're coming from. Any more questions or comments? Seeing none, we will open the vote. All those in favor of House Bill 1546 go to full committee, please signify by saying aye or by voting yes. Any opposed, please vote no. Mr. Clerk, could you please announce the vote?
Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes and 0 noes.
Seeing an affirmative vote, House Bill 1546 will go to full Transportation Committee. And Page High School will probably win a few more state championships. We are now on to item number 9, the very honorable House Bill 1680 by the very, very honorable Chairman Wright. You're recognized, sir. You have a motion. You have a second. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, a couple of sentences. Senator Massey, the chair of transportation in the Senate, and I attended a Burlington, Vermont seminar, symposium, fact-finding, or idea sharing 3 days when it was 6 below zero, 6 inches of snow on the ground, and 12 or 14 other states discussing the very things that we're discussing in transportation here in the state of Tennessee. I'm not to say that we heard new ideas. I believe it does not matter the other politics of any state. Everyone's facing the same issue. We're way backlogged on maintenance and road construction, and we need to look for sources of funding. The bill that I've introduced here, House Bill 1680, would be a 3 cent per kilowatt hour of electricity sold. It has nothing to do with charging your vehicle at home or at a station that did not charge 3 cents a kilowatt for the charge. A lot of words in all of that. But to make a long story short, this bill created more squeaking than a 100-car freight train. And let me back up to a previous bill I spoke to, waiting the results of the TASER study. With waiting for the results of the TASER study and maybe having a better idea where we need to be in the future on increased funding for transportation, I take this bill 1680 off notice.
And I will state before we take final action on that, that I've spent some time in Vermont ice fishing up there. I don't know if you had a chance to go on one of the lakes and dig a hole and ice fish, but the former Speaker of the House in Vermont, a dear friend of mine. So I've spent some time there and learned a lot about that. So I'm glad you got to go. Chairman Wright, thank you very much. This is a bill that I think as we're looking at all hands on deck and all ideas on deck, that this could be a potential conversation for future years. Chairman Wright, you're recognized again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I did look out the window and it looked too cold to go outside. Then one other, there are other comments that I would like to make, but let me just hold on to those comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Without objection, House Bill 1680 is off notice. All right. Any further business to come before the subcommittee? Hearing none, we are adjourned.